Today I'm going to be talking about nets, and the net is basically what you get when you open out a 3D object onto a flat surface, as I'm showing here for the cube. So there on the left you see the net of the cube, and the resource I'm using for this lesson is from the projectmaths.ie website, and I will show you at the end of the lesson how to access this for yourself. But in the meantime I want to go through some of these nets. So as we've just seen, we have the net of a cube there on the left, and you can see what happens when you to the net when you adjust the sides of the cube and so on. Now moving on to the next one, which is a cylinder. And if we open out a cylinder, you see that it makes that shape, which is two circles and a rectangle. And obviously the radius of each circle corresponds to the radius of the cylinder, and the height of the rectangle corresponds to the height of the cylinder over here. And again we can adjust the height and see what effect this has on the net. And it's important to be able to visualize these, because obviously in an exam situation you won't have access to software like this, so you need to be familiar with each 3D object and its corresponding net. Now moving on to the cone. And again, if I open out the cone, you can see the shape that makes, and by adjusting the radius and height we get to see the effect that has on the net. And a question based on the net of a cone has actually turned up on one of the SEC sample papers. Next we'll take a look at a pyramid. And as you can see here, this will open out into a sort of a star shape. And the important thing to realize here is the difference between the height of the perpendicular height of the pyramid and the slanted height, L. And you need to know how these correspond to the net. You can see the perpendicular height along the center here of each triangle, and the slanted height of the pyramid corresponds to the side of the triangle here. And we can adjust lengths and the height and so on. And lastly, we have an octahedron, which is basically it's like two pyramids stuck together. And if we open this out, we get a more elaborate type net. So again, it would be hard to visualize this unless you've seen it before. And again, we can adjust the sides and see the effect on the net of adjusting the size of each side. So that's it, that's all the nets. Just to show you where to get these, if you go to the Project Maths website, the fastest way to access these is probably to go straight to the student CD. And if you go into Leaving Cert, strand 3 number, and down to the very bottom, you will see all the nets that I've just shown. So if you click on each of these, it will bring up the corresponding net. You need to have Java installed on your computer, but you couldn't explain that when it comes to it if you haven't got it installed already. Okay, so that's the end of the lesson on nets and volumes.